Hey, Cassie, what are you trying to do that you're having trouble with? Good morning, everybody. Yeah, thanks, Tammy. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like my videos. I appreciate it a lot. Hi, Chow and Nancy. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, thanks, Tammy. Don't forget. Whoops, I had to turn off my own volume. This is going to be interesting, trying to watch the chat. I'm just excited that this appears to be working this time. Tammy and Chow and anybody else who's tried to be with me before. Guess I better fill up my coffee. How y'all doing out there? Tell me what machine you use. Do you use a Cricut or a Cameo? Yeah, that's right, Tammy. If y'all have questions, please use all caps. Get your coffee or whatever you drink. Hey, Patty. Great. Welcome. Well, keep your fingers crossed, Patty. That it works right. Cricut. Okay. All right, Chow. So Julie uses a Cricut. I have both. Cricut Maker. Okay, Tammy. Both machines, but I prefer the Cameo. Yeah, it's a little early there, isn't it, Chow? Let's see. What is it? 7:30? Almost? Yeah. Both. So it's a good thing at the last minute I decided to make sure that I knew how to tell you guys who have Cricut how to use the thing that I have on my screen right now over in your Cricut. Because do you all use the Silhouette software though? Because that's what I use for my Cricut. Matter of fact, this is showing up in Cricut right now. Oops, sorry, I slurped. Okay, yeah. Don't you love it, Patty? I think it's so much better for either machine. Oh, Julie, we might convert you to wanting to use Silhouette software for your Cricut. Yep, I know. There's so much you can do with it. What time is it? 10:24. So I'll start the class at 10:30. Yeah, I understand, Patty. Same here. I love Design Space, but I never knew what all else I could do if I used the Silhouette software. And some of these things you can actually do. People say, well, you can do that in Cricut. And, you probably can, but it's just so much harder, so many more steps. And you might not get as good a result. Oh, another patty. Wow. Oh, thinking of getting a Cameo. Because do you want the larger format one? Is that why? Right. Oh, maybe. Do you mean because you haven't used it as long as I have, perhaps? Yeah, I have a Cameo 3 and a Cameo 4. I like them. And I have a Cricut Explore Air 2. I actually like them all. I don't have a maker. So I'm at a loss when people want to know something specific with the tools that the maker can use because I don't have it. Oh, I need to try to remember. Oh, no, this automatically gets recorded, I think, to YouTube. Oh, that's a bummer because all this beginning chat's going to be on there. Yeah, hopefully people will just fast forward through this beginning part. I just wanted to get on really early to make sure it worked because I was scared. So what state or where do y'all live? I'm in Western North Carolina. Tammy's in Alabama. I know that. Chow is in California. How about everybody else? Where y'all from? Oh, Nebraska. Cool. Ohio. Ohio. I used to live in Ohio. Wisconsin. Can you point me in the right direction of the best tips and tricks for Silhouette software? If you go to my website, you can sign up there and you'll get 5 free classes. They're just classes. And they come once a week and they start at the very beginning to help you get through. I think they're pretty good. Let's see what Raleigh, Indiana, Nigeria. Wowsy. Illinois. Okay, about 1 more minute. Oh, thanks a lot. I never did finish it. It's not quilted or anything. I just pieced it, and it's hiding all the junk in the background. Do you know how that one was done? That's one of those ones that you sew right on a phone book page. Have you ever seen those? It's really easy and fun. A kid could do it. Okay, it's 10:30, so I guess that means it's time to get started. So now I'm going to, hi, Robin. All right, I'm gonna get started. So let's see. Think of what I'm doing here. All right, so what y'all see is my Silhouette software. Which would be perfect, except for my stuff's not showing up on here. Great. Hold on. Okay, hang on just one more minute because I'm not sure what's going on right here. Okay, there I went to the store. Back to Silhouette. Huh. All right, I'm going to close this for 1 sec. So let's go back to Cricut. And I'm going to close my Silhouette. And I'll open my Silhouette back up again. Okay. And I think I'm going to die because my stuff that I had on here is not here anymore. All righty then. So we'll start from scratch. Yikes. And now I wonder why I didn't save these to begin with. I did save the flip-flop one. So I'm going to go to File, Open. I saved this because I saved it for Cricut. Right here. All right, so there's the flip-flop one anyway. That's the one, the last one I want to do with you guys though. So let's see if I can get those other ones back opened again. Let's see. So bummed. Oh, well, let's just start with the flip-flop one. It's the hardest one, and we'll just start with that. So let's go back to Silhouette, and hopefully that's what you'll be seeing right now. Here's the one that I was going to end with. Accidentally, I forgot to save the other ones, and even though I was prepared, I still messed up. But anyway, this is the one I'm going to end. I wanted to end up with, so I'm going to group this and move this over. So where I found these flip-flops was I just went to let's see if I can find, okay, here we go. That I typed in American flag, and then I just scrolled on through. I was looking actually for an American flag, but then I ended up finding these flip-flops that I liked. So the first thing that I did after I found the flip-flops that I liked, I just right click on it and go to copy image. And then I'll come back to my Silhouette and say right click and paste. And there they come in. Now that's one advantage right there over Cricut. Look how quickly I can just bring something in like this to use it. So obviously, whoopsie, these guys aren't usable just like this. Hopefully you can tell that there's a white box behind them. So what you need to do is to trace these. Now these have a few little issues that you'll see when I trace them, I think. At least the last set I did. So the first thing you do to trace these is just come way over here to the trace panel. This looks like a piece of toast to me. A lot of people say they think it looks like a butterfly. So let's see, I'm going to click on that, which opens the trace panel. And I'm going to say select the trace area. And like I said, this is going to be the hardest one that there is because we're probably going to have to use nodes. the little points for editing. Those of you who are with me in my Patreon classes, you know that we've used nodes a lot. The Patreon, by the way, is $5 a month. It's a one-time, it's a class once a month for $5 only, and it's a good class, I think. Anyway, so I'm gonna click on the trace tool. That opens this trace panel. So I'll say select the trace area. Then, yes, Carmen, nodes. But this is just for this picture. You don't have to have this picture particularly. But you know what? I got a better image this time, so I think we're not going to have to use nodes. So I trace this, and once you see all of this yellow stuff show up, that means it's ready to go. Now, if this was a colored image and I wanted it to be a print then cut, I would do this differently. And I'll show you that on another image that I'll bring in after this. But anyway, for this one now, what I did again is I came over to the toast or the butterfly, which opened the trace panel, came to select the trace area, and then I drew a box around the thing I wanted to trace. If I didn't have nice solid lines, I could come here to the threshold and up the threshold. But you know what? Those lines look pretty terrific to me. So I'm just going to say trace. And now I can take this piece away. I don't need it anymore. And what I'm left with is this that I can turn into an SVG easily. So the first, I'll just make it like this one over here. One of the first things I did do, and I think I will have y'all do this, and this will involve nodes, Carmen, but you won't mind these. I'm going to come up here to the magnifying glass tool. It kind of looks like a bug to me. I'm going to scroll in. And what I want to do is I want to get rid of this part right here. I don't think that little piece there will make or break my image, whether I'm doing an iron-on for a t-shirt, or if I'm doing construction paper or cardstock. You can tell I'm old school construction paper. But anyway, all I'm going to do is double click, and that brings up all these crazy little points, also known as nodes. Notice there are quite a few of them. I can come over here to where it says simplify and click on that, and that'll get rid of a lot of them for me. So watch. There we go. See that? Got rid of a lot of them for me. So now all I'm going to do, like I said, is I want to get rid of this little section in here. I don't want it to cut out. So all I need to do, watch my cursor. It goes from an arrow to a hand. And then if I'm over top of a node, it goes to a little square with a diagonal line through it. That means it's ready to edit the node. Once I click on a node, watch that little box right there. It changed to white. Did you see that? That means I can now edit that node. And the way I want to edit that node is I want to delete it. So I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Once I hit delete, look what happened. That editable, the node with the white box around it, let me get scrolling even further for you. The node with the white box around it moved to the next node in line. That means I can edit that one now, and I'm going to delete it. Look again, it went down to this one. I'm going to delete again. And I'm going to scroll back out so I can see where it went now. Okay, it's just going to stay right here in this little section. So I can just keep hitting delete, delete. So notice it's just deleting those nodes. And now look, I no longer have that thing in here that I didn't want. It's a nice, just straight area. All right. I'm going to scroll back out a little bit again and come over and do it on this side as well. See that little piece right there? You don't need that on a flip-flop, right? I'm going to get rid of that. Click on that node, which makes it the editable one because it has a white box around it. So now I can delete it. I can do anything I want to it, but I want to delete it. Delete. And I'm just going to keep deleting until I get rid of that section in there because I don't want it. Delete. Perfect. All right. Now let's go back to this area, this tool up here, the select tool. And I want you to look at this image again. Now notice if you're doing this in cardstock or you're doing this in vinyl, you really, really don't need these little teeny weeny pieces right here, right? I mean, those will be a nightmare. So all I would do, yeah, you love destroying them. I'm going to destroy a few more, Carmen. All right. So all I would do is click on this one. And again, I can simplify that so there's not so many showing up. All right, so that didn't work that well, but I'm going to see that little area right there. I'm going to click on that one to make it the editable one and just delete or destroy, as Carmen likes to say. Delete these. And I think I'll delete these as well too. Now, this is something you don't have to do, but I'm saving my machine a lot of work by not having to cut out these little tiny pieces that really are useless, right? They're just dumb. So I'm going to click on this one. I don't want those. I'm going to click on this to highlight it and delete. Hey, Dee, yeah, you can use this for your Cricut. Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, Dee. How you doing? Anyway, I'm going to keep doing this for a minute. Going to get to click on this one, delete, delete. Okay, there we go. Now look how much cleaner that looks. We don't need all those little pieces. So do you see some over here I could get rid of? This one. Double click to get the nodes back. And if you want to, what you could do if you had enough space, just hold down your shift key and you can draw a box around the nodes that you want to get rid of. So notice that grabbed 3 of them at one time. It made them all active, all ready to go, delete, gone. Let's come over here and delete some more. So again, I can just click on one at a time and keep hitting delete on my keyboard. Come over to this group, one at a time, this group, one at a time. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now let's scroll out and make sure that looks good. Uh-oh, I see some more junk down here, but you know what? I'm going to show you a different way and get rid of that too. If I click on this, now this is the way I usually teach y'all to make SVGs. We come up here to the color swatch area, way up here in the upper left-hand corner. And I usually change that to a very, very light color that I probably won't be using in the object that I'm working on. So I'll make that a pale green color, maybe right here. Okay. So that allows us to see everything. Now, the next thing that I always do is I come up here to Object, up here at the top, Menu, Object, whoopsie, Release the Compound Path. What that's going to do is going to make little boxes around all of the things that I can edit in my flip-flop design. So I'm going to say Release the Compound Path. So see all those boxes now? So that means I can edit these things. Now, we could have done this instead before, instead of doing the nodes, we could have just done this, where now I can click on this thing right here, just move it out and delete it. And Carmen, you probably like this a lot better. Move this out and delete it. So we ended up with the same thing that we did before with nodes. As Nancy and I used to always say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So you could have either done the nodes or done the have done what I just did. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start coloring. Yeah, I'm going to start coloring these. So the first thing, let's look at my sample over here. This is going to be for, let's pretend I'm going to make it out of vinyl and I'm going to put it on a shirt or on a bag, maybe on my bag, a beach bag or something. That'd be cool. All right. So I'll just start coloring that the way I did over here. So I made a click on this one. Notice that allows me to check it or to select it. If I hold down my shift key, I can select a bunch of them at one time. So I'm going to click this one. So I do red, white, blue, red, hold down the shift key, grab that one, white, blue. Come back over to this one, red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red. Look at this little piece over here. I want to make sure to grab that as well. I'm still holding down my shift key all this time. I want to grab that one, red, white, blue, red. Okay, now I have everything selected that I want to make red. So I'm just going to come up here to the color swatch and change it to red, just like that. Now, before I let loose of this thing, I'm going to make that a compound path. And this is especially important for if you're using this for Cricut, because if I didn't make it a compound path, over there in Cricut, every single one of these pieces would be a new layer, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But right now, if I make it a compound path, when it goes over to Cricut, it'll think it's one image and it'll stay on one layer. So to make this a compound path, all you have to do is come up here to Object, make a compound path. If you like to use keyboard shortcuts, notice it says Control E. So if I have all those selected, I can either go up to Object, make compound path, or I could right click and make compound path, or I could hit Control E. Hopefully all these options don't confuse you. So yeah, I'll make that a compound path. So that means I can pick these off of here and they stay together as one piece. Just like that. Let me hit undo. All right. So now I'm going to do the next one, which will be, I guess I'll do the white. So I'll do click on this. Okay, notice the nodes showed up. I can either come up here up in the upper left-hand corner to get the select tool back, because I don't really want to mess with the nodes right now. Or if you like keyboard shortcuts, I could just hit the letter V. Letter V is in victory or Victor on my keyboard. And watch when I click on this, how the selection on my flip-flop will change. See? That's what we wanted. So hold down the Shift key. So that's red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red, white, red, white. And there's a little teeny piece of white here. All right. Now, while those are all still selected, I'm going to come up here, change their color to white. And still while they're all selected, I'm going to come up here to Object, make a compound path, or those other options I told you about earlier. Now those will stay together as one piece. All right, time for the blue. Again, click off, then click on. So I know that's the blue. Hold down my Shift key and get that. Come over to the other flip-flop. This is blue. Obviously, the ones that are left are the blues. Come up here, change it to any blue. And again, while it's still selected, and this is really important for Cricut people, not as much for Silhouette, but it won't hurt if you do this with your Silhouette. Make a compound path. Okay. Let's see. What shall I do next? I guess the next thing I'm going to do, I think I'll select the outer edge of that one and hold down my Shift key and get the outer edge of this one. And I'm going to try this. I'm not sure which sequence is best. I'm going to change this to black. Yeah, no, that's not what I want. Undo. So obviously I forgot to change this part to blue and this to blue. You see that? So I'm going to go ahead and click on here. Click off first. Click on here to select that. Hold down my Shift key, get this. Still holding down my Shift key and get that. And then I'm going to change those to the same blue that I used before. So I'll just come right up here. Change, here's the same blue I had used, blue. Uh-oh, I missed one. So hold down my Shift key and get this one too. Color that blue. And now those things are all selected, right? I'm going to hold down my Shift key and select that other thing, the other blues. And now while all of the blue is selected, once again, I'm going to come up to Object, make a compound path. And there we go. So now if I pull this away, look at that. All that's going to cut just like that. And it's going to stay exactly where I need it to. Okay. So now I think, what should I do? I think I'll color these parts. What do you call that part? I don't know, that part. I'm going to click on, so what I did was I clicked on this, hold down my Shift key and get this one and this one and this one. Every little piece that's disconnected needs to be picked. And I'm going to come up here and change it to black. Okay, there we go. And while those are selected, I think I'll go to Object, make it a compound path. All right. Now let's see. I think what I'll do is I'll change that one. So what I did was I clicked on the outside of this flip-flop and I'm going to change it to black. And I'm going to change the outside of this one to black. Okay, so that's looking really, really good so far, but I want you to notice something, and I'm not sure why this happened, but look at the stars. Notice how some of these stars, there's the black that you see behind them, and some of them you don't. Usually you won't have to do this, so this is, again, a little bit more advanced. What I'm going to have to do with these stars here is this. I'm going to click on this star, hold down my shift key, click on this outer blue part, come over here to the modify panel. And like I said, if this seems really confusing to you, don't get scared, because most images that you do, you won't have to do this part. It's not going to have this goofiness. But anyway, I would come over to the modify panel, open it up, and say subtract. Did you see what that did then? So again, I would click on the outside of the star, hold down my shift key, click on the blue. Just two things. Come over here to the modify panel and subtract. And I could do actually more of those at a time, but since this blue is its own separate piece, I'm going to do it by itself. So I click the outside of the star, shift, blue, subtract. All right, now these guys down here I'm going to do together, I think. So let's see, I can click that one, hold down the shift, this one, whoops, darn it, I don't want to do that. So what I'm trying to do is get the outside of all the stars. And then last, the blue, and I'm hoping this is going to work all at once. Come up here to subtract. Okay, it worked. I must have forgotten to get this one. So again, I'll click on that, click off, click on the star, shift, click on the blue, come over to the modify panel and subtract. All right. Again, looks like a whole ton of stuff, doesn't it, you guys? But you probably won't have to do this if this is scary. So click on the blue. Click on the star, hold down my shift key, blue, subtract, star, shift, blue, subtract, star. I'll do this star too, the blue, and subtract. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now this is ready to go. Almost. Now what I'm going to do is this is going to make it easier for me to select all these stars to change their color. Like I could go one by one and come up here and change its color. But rather than do that, here's a sneaky way to do it. Just come up here, and I need to move something. Here we go. I'm going to come up here to this paint palette up here. Notice when I hover over it, it says select by color. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to come over here to this panel that automatically opened up. And I'm going to select by fill color. So notice these are all the colors that are all over my whole mat or my whole screen here. But the one I'm concerned about is this color right here, because that's the color of those stars. So I'm going to click on that. Once I clicked on that, notice it selected every one of these stars over here. So since they're all selected, I can just come up here and change their color all at once, like that. So wasn't that a lot easier than going back and forth, clicking and changing every one? All right. So now, since I have those still selected, you know what I'm going to do? Do you remember what I do? Yep. I come up here to go to Object, make it a compound path. Let's undo that for a second. If it wasn't a compound path, I could move every one of these stars individually. And you know, if you took this over to Cricut Design Space, every one of those stars would just line up straight across on your cut mat, which is not what you want. You want them to be exactly placed where you want them to be. So for Cricut, this is really important. Whoopsie, I gotta make sure those are all selected again. How do I get back? Okay, there they are. They're all selected. Yeah, that's really important, Carmen, for your Cricut. So Once they're all selected, come up here to Object, make it a compound path, and that makes the machine, whether it be Cricut or whatever, think this is just one image. So watch, I can't just drag one of these anymore. When I drag them, they all come together. And when this mess goes over to Cricut Design Space, it's going to cut exactly where you need it to. Cricut's not going to line them all up on your mat willy-nilly like. So that's perfect, just like that. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see these red lines here. Those red lines show up. Those are the cut lines, and those show up for my Cameo. So they don't have to even be there. So I'm just going to highlight everything and come up here. This is the fill color. This is the line color. I'm going to change the line color to this right here, which means it's transparent. And now those red lines don't show up at all. All right, so let's see. There's only one more thing that I want to do, and that is, if you'll notice, I can still take these off, these little pieces and things, and I don't even need those, but I'm going to do this instead. What I'm going to do is, once again, let's pretend like this is closed. I'm going to come up here to the select by color. I'm going to select all the black. And I'm actually going to weld it. And then after I weld it, I am going to go to Object, make a compound path. That's just something I figured out that I had to do. So if you're going to do these flip-flops, you grab them and do that. Do remember, maybe make a mark of this timestamp time, because if you don't remember to weld them first and then make them a compound path, it's going to be a little bit of a problem for you over in Cricut. Okay. It'll be a lot easier if you remember to weld it first and then make it a compound path. So let me just show you so far what this is going to look like in Cricut. So let me go ahead over here to File. Whoopsie, File. Oh, I need to select these first because I don't want to save everything, and I'll just group them. Okay, now I'm going to go to File, Save Selection, save it to my hard drive. And the reason, again, why I'm saving the selection is I don't want all of this stuff over there, over here to the left of my mat coming in to Cricut. I just want exactly what I want. So I have these selected. I go to File, Save Selection, save to your hard drive. And save this a bunch of times. I'll just name this Flip-Flops for Cricut 4. Okay, now, if you have the business edition, and those of you who have Cricut, you know you had to buy that. Sometimes it's on sale for $48. I think right now it's $62. When I bought it, was $99. Anyway, I'll have a link for it down below for you, and I appreciate if you use my link. But anyway, if you have the business edition for Cricut, you'll have all these options where you can save the file. If you don't bite the bullet and buy the business edition, you won't be able to use this software for your Cricut. You have to do the one-time purchase of the business edition, and then you'll get all these options so that you can save it for your Cricut. I can save it as an SVG, which is what I'm going to do. I could save it as a JPEG if I'm doing a print and cut with a beautiful offset, but I'm saving this one as an SVG, and I'll say okay. All right, now let's open Cricut Design Space, and I'll show you. New, replace, upload an image, browse. So I'm going to browse for flip-flops for Cricut 8, and open it. There it is. Save. Boom. Insert it. Okay. Oh, okay. I can show you something over here. I must have forgotten to do something. So look at this. The red is just one layer. The white, just one layer. The black, just one layer. What's this? I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's the white. What is this? Oh, those are the stars. I'm sorry. Stars are one layer. Look, we can drag them off If I ungroup it, the stars are one layer, the red is one layer, the white is one layer, the black is one layer. Look over here in the layers panel. Who knows what I may have forgotten to do. Hey, Tammy, I'm not sure if it's still $48 right now. It might have gone up to $62, but I'm not sure. But check it out, you guys. It goes on sale, but you might want to bite the bullet and do the 62 instead of 48, to get started. But anyway, who knows what I forgot to do? Who can tell? Look at all these layers over here for the blue. Watch this when I go to make it. The white's fine. It's going to do like this. The black, they're all going to be exactly where I need them to be. If it's vinyl, the red's going to be fine. Look at the blue. Look at the blue. I messed up. So let me cancel this. So you see what happens if you don't make stuff, who knows? Yep, into a compound path. You're right. So I'm going to make this a new. I'm going to say replace. I'll go back over to Silhouette and I'll just prove that to you. So if we get the blue, select all the, well, I might need to ungroup this first. Okay, so if we select all the blue and then I go object, make it a compound path. And now y'all check, hey, y'all check this out. I'm going to group this again. I want you to see what happens. I'll go to File, Save Selection, because I don't want to save all that other junk, to my hard drive. And I'll name it Flip Flop 5. And I'm going to save it as an SVG for my Cricut. SVG. Okay. Come back to Cricut. Upload. Upload an image. Browse. Flip Flop 5. Save. And insert. And now look how many layers there are. You see the difference? One layer of blue. That's why you have to save it or change it into a compound path. Make a compound path. So now if we go to make it, we'll have the white vinyl exactly where we need it to be. The black, yellow, the blue, and the red. So this would be easy peasy peasy to put onto a t-shirt or a bag or anything like that. You'd be able to line it up easily with your transfer tape paper. All right, let's go back to Silhouette because I wanted to show you also how to do the text around it. Okay, so we have these guys and they're done. So there's several different ways that you can make the text around it. Let's see, I'll make them smaller like that. One of the ways you can do it is just come over here to the left-hand side where the shapes are. Get the circle or the ellipse. Yeah, for 48. Right, yes. But again, like I said, Tammy, when I bought it, it was $99. Definitely don't go to the Silhouette store and buy it because that's where it's more expensive. Use my link. At least it'll save you almost $30 right now. And if you can wait, it'll be 48 maybe again. But anyway, so what I did was I came over here, got a circle in the drawing tools. If I don't hold down my shift key, I can make that circle any size I like it, any shape, right? But I want a total circle. So if I hold down my shift key after I get that shape, hold down my shift key, no matter how hard I try, I can only make it a real circle. Okay. So I'm going to do it like that. Now I can't see if that's the right size or not. So one easy way to tell is to come over here to this paint palette on this side, click on that, and you can make it transparent. And now you can see, can I make it smaller? Do I want to make it smaller? How's that look to me? Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'll leave that circle right there. Come over to the text tool on the right. And again, if you're a person that just likes to use short keyboard shortcuts, you can just hit the letter T on your keyboard and that brings the type tool up. So I'm going to type in flip Oops. Dash flops. I better put my fingers on the home keys, right? Flip flops are my happy place. Okay, so now we don't want to have it like this. We don't want it in 2 lines. How do you get it into 1 line? You see this bar right here that I'm circling? Just pull that off to the side and you'll see your words will get into one line, okay? So now look at this little thing right here. This is a little magic button right here. If I click off that word flip-flops and come back on, look at that little magic you'll think is not there anymore. And I need that to make this text go around this shape. How do I get it back? Just double click on the text again, which makes it editable text. And then drag this thing down here. Soon as it hits that circle, it's going to jump around it automatically. Boom, just like that. Look at that. So if you want it just like this, we're oopsie. Come on. If you want it just like this, where it just goes around like that, and you don't care if it fills up the whole space, you can leave it like that. If you think you want it to be further away, you use this little thing that looks like a zipper, and you can adjust how far away or how close in it is. If you still want your text like this, but you want it spaced further apart so it goes all the way around, one of the things you could do, since this is still editable text, and the way we know we can still edit the text is this green box around it. If I click off and click back on, I can't edit the text, change the font, change any letter spacing or anything like that. But again, if I double click back on it, see the green box that comes around? I can still edit it. So you come over here to all these tools over here. Don't let these tools scare you. Go to the text style panel. And I can change the character spacing right here if I want to. I can make them further apart like that. You know, if you like them that far apart or whatever, and you can still move it. It's like this. Whoopsie, don't want to do that. So there's, you can put it on the inside of the circle or the outside. So I think that's probably what I did right there. And then I thought, I don't really like that empty spot right there. So that's when I decided to fill it with a circle. So I just came over here, or not a circle, a heart. Came over here to these shapes. Now, again, if you don't have the business edition, you won't have all these shapes. Get the heart. I just drew a little heart. I brought it down here. It's a little too big, so I can click on it. Whoopsie. Click on it and make it a little smaller. And then this green handle right here allows me to rotate it. Like that. Okay, so I'm good with that. So now what I can do is I can click on that heart, hold down my shift key and click on the text, change the color of them to black. And now I think, yeah, what I did with this was I went ahead and grabbed the heart and the word flip-flops and I welded it. And then I said, object, make a compound path. And the reason why I did that is, y'all, I think that if you don't weld it first, let me make it black. And then let me make this a compound path object. Oh, it worked. Okay. So you might weld it or you don't really have to, either way. But here again, now what I'm going to do is this. I don't need this circle anymore. So I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go ahead and make a compound path all of the black so that all of this black will stay together on my Cricut machine mat. Okay. So again, to make all of the black a compound path, I'll come up here to the select by color, come over here, not by line. You might be like, well, what the heck? Always make it by fill when you're doing this part and click all the black and then go to object, make it a compound path. Whoa. Okay, let's see. What I think I might want to do is after I have all that selected, I'm not even sure if I really have to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to ungroup everything. Okay. And now I'm going to click on the black object. Okay. So watch what I did right there. So I ungrouped everything and then I selected just the black, right? All the black is selected. Then I came up here to object, make a compound path. And you might be like, oh my gosh, I broke the whole thing, all that work. But yeah, no, all that happened was the last thing that you did was to make the black a compound path. That just brought it to the front. That just made it the top layer. So all you have to do is right click on it if you're scared and say, send it to the back, send that black layer to the back, and there you go. All right, so let's check it out. Let's look first in Silhouette. So let's pretend we're sending this to Silhouette. Notice all these things are coming in. It's cutting all this stuff out the way we don't want it to. So I'm going to say cut edge. I highlighted everything and I said cut the edge, but I'm going to do it by fill now. So I would uncheck all of these things. And then the first thing I would do is I would just go ahead and cut the black. So notice when I clicked on that, what it did was it just went around the black, and this is what it's going to cut. Now, if I was doing it out of cardstock, it would be fine like this. If I'm doing it out of vinyl, I would wanted to heat transfer vinyl. I would have wanted to mirror it. I personally don't like to mirror in this area over here when I'm using my Cameo. I prefer, going back to design, I prefer just grabbing all of this right now and then right clicking and saying flip horizontally. I much prefer doing it here. Now it's going to ask me over in when I go to send it to my Cameo, do I want to flip it? And I'm going to say no. I want it to do just exactly as it is because I've already personally flipped it myself. And I like to do it myself. I don't want the machine to be involved in that. So let's go back to design. Oh, I'm in design. Let's bring this over to Cricut. So I'm going to flip that horizontally back the way it was. Just going to group all this stuff. Group. Let's check it out and see if this is going to work in Cricut. Fine. So I'm going to say file. I hope all my undoings didn't undo the compound path. We'll check. File, save selection. Again, I don't want all the junk off my mat. Save it to my hard drive. You don't need to save it as an SVG for your Cameo, but flip, flop 6. And this is for my Cricut. So I'm going to save it as an SVG. It'll work for my Cameo saving as an SVG too, but I have to save it like this for Cricut. Say, okay. Let's go over to Cricut. Let's cancel this one. File. Let's see what else I got. Cancel. Yes, I do want to cancel it. Okay. All right, finally, let's get rid of these. All right, let's go to upload. Upload an image. Browse. Flip flop 6. Fingers crossed that I remembered to make the black a compound path. Yep, I believe. Save. Insert. Yeah, for those of you using Cricut, if you buy this one time, think of how many SVGs you've purchased, and you'll never have to purchase another one because you can make your own. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers because there are 5 colors in here. Go to make it. The white, black, and all the colors. Now, the only thing is, remember, if you're doing this for HTV or for heat transfer vinyl, you will want to flip it horizontally. And you can do it just like that and then send it. So that's how easy it is for Cricut. Does anybody have, I missed these. Aw. Anybody have any questions? I don't see anything in all caps. If you do have any questions on what I just did, please put it in all caps and I will try to get to it. All right, so let's go back to silhouette and I'll do one more thing. Even though I have nothing prepared for this one, let's just go and I'll find a coloring book page really quickly. Well, that's kind of like what I did here. So let's do this. I need to move this out of my way. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to Mickey Mouse. Okay. And this is how I find images that I want to do for a print and cut with an offset. I would go to tools. No, I wouldn't. I go to image, all images. I want Mickey Mouse images. Then I go to tools and I tell it the type I want is just clip art. And there's all these Mickey Mouse clip arts. So what I also do before I would even begin looking is I change the size. I want this to be the largest image that I can find, especially if you're using it for print and cut. You must have a large image. Otherwise, it'll be blurry and you'll be like, why did it get all blurry? You have to start with a nice, big image. So change it to large. And then these are the options you have. And you can actually think my thing's running a little bit slowly. It's bothering me. Well, I'll just click on one of these. I'll get, really doesn't matter. I'll get this one maybe. All right. There's an image that we can use. So all you have to do to use him now and to make a print and cut with an offset around him is go to, now you wouldn't want to use him to be a color, one that you'll color. I'll show you why, but you'll copy this image, come over to silhouette, paste it, probably going to be huge. Yep. So you'll want to make it smaller. I guess you can probably see that there's a box around him, right? And say I was wanting to use him for a cake topper. Maybe I wanted a Mickey Mouse on a cake topper or little cupcakes. Each cupcake had one. I'd make it a lot smaller, but I don't want it to have a box around it like this. I want it to be in the shape of Mickey. So what would I do? Simply come over here to the trace panel, which looks like a piece of toast or a butterfly. Select the trace area, and this is basically what we had done before. Trace him. Oopsie. See, I didn't get all of him, so I can click on that and drag it down lower. Notice it's not tracing very well because there's no yellow around his feet or anything. So that's when I know I need to up the threshold over here. So I just up this threshold a lot. And till he's almost all yellow, but you don't want all those jaggedy edges like that. So I'm going to use this little thing here to go down a bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now rather than just saying trace, I'm going to trace and detach. So what that's going to allow me to do is have Mickey just like this. Look, there's no white box around him anymore. The white box is over here. I'll move him way off because I want to get rid of the box that's here. I wish I could show it to you. There you go. See that? That's what I cut him out of, this white box here. So now that I have that white box all selected, I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard because I don't need it. I will drag a box over here again with the select just to make sure there aren't any other little schnipsels hanging out behind. And if there were, you'd see little tiny boxes and you'd need to delete those. But we're left with this guy. He's perfect just like this, right? But if I wanted a nice offset on him, because I think it really makes him look really professional, I would just come over here to the star that has an offset on it. Click on that star and click on the word offset. And there it is. Whoa, what is that? I'm not sure what that is. I wonder, there must have been some little specks left in him. So let me show you what to do. I'm going to undo that to get rid of the offset. Okay, so I'm going to scroll way in and see if I can see those little specks. And I can't. Here. Draw a box over top of him, send the box to the back, and let's see if I can see. Yeah, see that right there? Now you can see the white line. Hopefully you can see that white line now. Scroll in. Oopsie. Use this bug tool and scroll in, and you'll be able to see that junk right there. I'm not exactly sure why that did that, but I can get rid of that easily with those daggum nodes. So I'll just double click on this to get him. Notice the nodes here. So I can just delete those. So that's gone. And then I can come over here and do the same thing on this side. I got to double click on it. Oops. I'll double click on it. And then click on this one out here and delete it. Delete it. And there he goes. So now he's going to be perfect. So I'll leave him on that blue so you can see how perfect he's going to be. All I have to do now is come over here again to the offset panel, click on that, highlight him so I have something I'm going to offset, and it almost looks like there's something still here, but I'll check offset. Nope, it's perfect. All right, notice it put an offset around him just like that. And of course, you can change the size of your offset if you want a really big offset or a wee little teeny one in case you're making stickers. You just might a little teeny tiny offset on him. This is how you can make really cool stickers with a little offset. So once you've done this, what you need to do is change the offset color to white. And you can group it. And he's perfect just like that. Whoopsie daisy, I want to group him. I'll move that and group him. Okay, once again, you Cricut people, there's something special you need to do. Am I frozen right now, Tammy? Okay, it's done. All right, so what you need to do now, well, let me show you first for Cameo, all you have to do is, first of all, you need to put on your, well, this is something totally different. So I'm not going to go to all this business. This will be in another show. This is just for tracing. But anyway, for Cricut, if you do want to use him like this, you traced him, you put a beautiful offset on him. For Cricut, you must remember to change the line color. Change the line color. And I'll show you why. I'm going to duplicate him. I'll make two of him side by side. I'm going to change the line color of the one on the right to a gray, a medium gray. Okay, can get rid of this box. Now what I'm going to do for Cricut, remember now, I saved. Hey, y'all, is it working now? I see you're all saying it's frozen. Is it working now? Is it working, anyone? Okay, thank you. All right, so what I did now is I have this one and I put that gray, I made the line color gray. That's what you must do for Cricut. This one, I'm going to leave him as he is. And I'm going to show you the difference over there in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to select both of these guys. I'm going to say File, Save Selection, whoopsie, Save to Hard Drive, Mickey. I'll just call it Mickey, I-C-K-E-Y, Mickey. Oh, I got to save him as This time I'm going to save him. Whoopsie, changed that accidentally. This time I'm going to save him as a JPEG because I'm using him as a print then cut. Okay. So again, if you have the business edition for Cricut, for your Cricut machine, you can save it as a JPEG. I'm going to say, okay. It's going to ask me some questions here. Always just leave that just as it is and say save. Okay, now I'm going to open Cricut Design Space, new, move some stuff, replace, upload an image, browse. Going to find Mickey. There he is. Open. Okay, it looks fine, right? And watch, it's going to work this time. Continue. Oh, you know what? Y'all, I think this is going to work okay this time. Usually you can't, the red line won't show, but for Cricut, I actually do like to put the gray on so that this line does not print in my print and cut. So I'm going to select and erase, and I'm just going to click here and just, oh, okay, here's what happened. Let me undo that. Let's go back. So what happened is the red did stop me from getting rid of my offset here, but it didn't stop over here. But what I've taught you to do is go to advanced settings and change your tolerance. And I always just start with an 8 because that works for me. Then I can change the tolerance to 8. And notice now it leaves a nice white offset around him the way I wanted it to be. So if I go continue and save, I do want you to notice this. Look at this image here. That's the cut with the red lines. Look at those jaggedy edges and stuff. You don't want it to look like that. You want it to look more like this one, which is the gray, which is the one I changed the line color to gray. But we don't want this. We don't want just a cut image. We want to print then cut. So save. It's probably going to come in too big to be a print then cut image. Insert for Cricut. Where'd they go? What's happening here? I don't know. Upload. There they are. Insert images. Okay, is something going wrong with Cricut Design Space, or have I done something wrong? Let's see. New. Replace. Upload. Upload. Insert. Okay, I really don't know. I'm not exactly sure what's happened here, you guys. This should work just perfectly. Because here they are. So anyway, let's go back to Silhouette. I'm not sure what's going on there. So in Silhouette, we would just go to send. Again, be careful with Silhouette because look, it's going to cut around him. Look at, see that line there around his inner body? Don't want that. So you would highlight both and just say cut edge. And then you would have two of them ready to go. I don't really know what happened over there in Cricut. Maybe I'll open it again. Quit. I'll try opening Cricut one more time and see if that fixes whatever that was. Okay, closing and reopening Cricut worked better. So here they are, and now you can see the Mickey. Now, when you go print then cut this one is going to print that little red border around there. This one you can barely see because it's the little gray border, and it would work out a whole lot better. However, we wouldn't be able to print then cut this in Cricut right away because notice there's that little warning symbol right there. But y'all know how to get rid of that, right? Because this is too big for a print then cut in Cricut. So all I have to do is get a shape, the square, unlock it, stretch it out, cover one of my Mickeys. Okay, grab two things. And you remember from my prior teachings on Cricut a long time ago, if you have two and only two things selected in the layers panel, you can slice. So now I can slice this out, and I accidentally cut off a little of his offset, but that's okay. We get the idea. Delete this, and now we have two. Why is that still showing up? Oh, because that little bit of his toe is still in there. All right, so what I would do again is get another shape, square, this. So what happened, if you're not sure what I'm doing, is when I cut off a little bit of that offset, I left it with this Mickey over here, and that made that box too big for a print and cut. See that little piece right there I left? So I need to delete that, delete this. And now both of these should work. Hey, did I forget to delete something still? Anyway, you get the idea. There it is, print and cut. Let's delete this one because I messed him up somehow. And this one, not sure what that is. This one, we just go to make it. Here he is. Send him to your printer and then print and cut. But you're maybe like, well, how do I know? Or it's cutting just exactly around my Mickey, or it's just cutting the outer square. Don't forget that little thing I showed you. Just go down here to where it says blank canvas. Click on that. That allows you to come up here and change the color of the background like that. And now you can tell exactly what's going to print. And obviously I cut off a little bit of his ear too when I did the box. Anyway, all right. So let's go back to silhouette. Was there one more thing I was going to show you, right? Does anybody remember what the other thing was I said I was going to show? I can't remember the other thing I said I was going to show. This has probably been enough for a day anyway. I mean, y'all are probably like, ay, ay, ay. To make it layers, you trace it, then choose color. Thanks for answering questions, Tammy. I appreciate it a lot. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions, or do you remember what else I said I was going to show? Because I don't recall. Maybe the last thing was to show you how to do him not a print then cut. So if I was going to do him, oh, okay, the difference between a JPEG and an SVG. Okay. So let's go back here. Okay. So this is an SVG. I'm going to ungroup it. And since it's an SVG, all of these little pieces can be taken apart and cut individually. Okay. All these pieces, all of these. As you saw over in Cricut Design Space, it's going to cut the black and then the red and then the yellow. But if I make this into an SVG, basically that's the same thing as if you're just using plain Cricut. That's like flattening it. That's like making it a print then cut. So if you make it into an SVG, or I mean into a JPEG, you're not going to have all these pieces that are going to be able to cut like this. They're going to have to be print then cuts. Okay, the SVG is the file where the cutting machine, yes, exactly. The SVG, that's exactly right. Thanks, Tammy. The SVG puts the cut lines around everything. If this was a JPEG, let's see if I put a box around this, and I'll make it a color, a pale color, and I'll send it to the back. Okay, so let's say I'm going to grab all this and group it. And if I make this into a JPEG, all that's going to happen, and I want to do a print then cut, only thing that's going to happen over there is it's going to print this whole thing. And if this has all been made into a JPEG, it's only going to cut around the outer edge of this. Hey, Stephanie. So a JPEG is basically a print then cut. An SVG allows you to have the cut files. The other thing about an SVG is you can scale it, meaning if you take a JPEG or something like that over to Cricut and you have a icky image and you make it really big, it's going to get all pixelated and blurry and ugly. But if it's an SVG, you can stretch it as much as you want, change its size however you want, and it won't get pixelated. Okay, I guess that's probably about it for now. I will be, to join Patreon, just go to patreon.com/PattyAnn. And, you know, for what we are learning today, I would recommend you sign up for the $5 level. You'll be able to look at classes from the last 2 months and see what we've been up to. So, okay, don't forget, hey, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Use my links down below this video. I appreciate it because it helps to just keep Team Patty Ann going, rolling. You're welcome, child. Thank you. Yeah, I know, Carmen. I'm so glad you're back. Woohoo! And you have a craft room again? Cool. Can you join on if groups? Oh, okay. The message. Yes, and don't forget when you join the Patreon group that you can also join the private silhouette group. Yeah. Do you know how to edit a font on a shape? Or do you have to weld before you release it from the shape? Are you talking about in Silhouette? Hi, Miss Patty. Do you know how to edit a font on a shape? Yeah, you can edit a font on a shape. Let's see. I hate doing a heart. So, get a font. Whoops, not that. A text. There's that. So if I wanted to bring that and put that on the heart, double click on it and okay, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, where those little things are like that, but you're able to fix that with the line space or character spacing over here a little bit sometimes. You'd have to putz with this a little bit. So some of these are a little bit kooky. You can also move it out away and then change your character spacing. But so I really messed that one up already. Let's get it off of there. Here we go. So like I could put it there. And I wonder if I could just do this. If I could come over here to the replicate. Oh, I forgot about this. Y'all remember this? Aha, let's take this off here for a sec. I don't know. All right, now I'm getting into what I've forgotten how we do things. So I need to go back and watch my own videos sometimes. Oh, And I would say it's because I'm getting old, but I've always been like this. Anyway, I have a question on my Silhouette software. I seem to have lost the line sizing on top menu. Does anyone know how to get it back? The line sizing. Yeah, no, I'm not. I guess file. Did you already check in your preferences? I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Do you mean this line right here? I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry, does anybody else know how to help that? The line? I'm not sure, but you know what? If you're in one of our groups, any one of the groups, why don't you post it in there and ask the question again, and I'll have time to research it when I'm not live. Oh, the height and the width. So if you click on, you have to have an item clicked on or it won't show up. Like if I don't have anything clicked on, I don't have height and width up here. Once I click on the heart, look what comes up, my width and my height. Oh, I froze again. Okay, guess that means it's time to quit. I'll see y'all again soon. If you have any comments, or questions, leave it in the comments below or in our Facebook groups. Join me on Patreon. Use my links. Thanks. Bye, you guys.